It looks picture perfect, but life for many people here is a daily struggle. Around 1 million people depend on the tea industry in Sri Lanka, some earning little more than $1 or $2 a day. Tea is a vital cash crop, but one very vulnerable to climatic change. A prolonged dry spell this year sharply hit production yields. Tea workers like Rajaratnam say weather patterns have changed. I've been working on tea estates for the past 30 years, but the last 3 years have been really tough, he said. Because of the drought, our production has significantly dropped. We're unable to predict the weather patterns anymore, if it's going to rain or be hot. Our overall income has gone down. While the rains have now arrived, overall tea production this year is expected to be around 8% lower than last year. 5 or 6 years ago, things weren't like this, said W.G. Kusumawati. This year, in the first 3 or 4 months, we experienced a serious drought. We suffered a lot. It's been very difficult for us to get by. A global shortage of tea has pushed consumer prices up by about 15% in some countries, but that's been of little benefit to tea workers. Some of the lowest paid receive around 30 cents net per kilo for their leaves. Smallholders like Kamani Nilanti have been badly hit. Our incomes have gone down by about 25% this year, she told me. It's been very difficult for smallholders like me to live. Because of the climate, we've been struggling. The changing weather patterns have made it very difficult for us. Oxfam has been helping to support tea smallholders with technical and business training so they can improve their yields and better manage their plantations. It's also helped them to form societies to negotiate better prices for their crops. The smallholders provide some of their leaves to the Kalawata estate, one of the first tea plantations in Sri Lanka to be registered as a fair trade producer. Estate manager Mahinda Ranawira says production has been hard hit.
Last year what happened, even this year, January and February up to March, we never experienced the usual pattern of rain. So the crops came down drastically. Normally in these months we get about close upon 200 kilos seal per hectare. But what we got actual was about 80 to 90, sometimes it is in certain places it is below that. So it is rather below the expectations.
Scientists predict that in line with global climate changes, Sri Lanka will experience higher temperatures and greater periods of intense rainfall, which could worsen soil erosion. Under worst-case scenarios, some have predicted tea production could fall by more than 20% this century. Researchers are now looking at developing drought-resistant, high-yield tea plants and improving soil conservation. Estate manager Mahinda Ranawira refuses to be pessimistic.
Companies as well as the smallholders, now they have felt the importance of the protecting of the environment. So with these changes, I am sure in time to come people will more and more they'll think about the environment and they'll take steps to save the environment.
But global leaders also need to act too, to reduce emissions and help poorer countries mitigate the negative impacts of climate change.